and welcome to a very special episode of A Tuesday Talkie. Well, it's because you're in it, Ian. It's not because of any difference in special. It's literally a special. It's this 6 months almost of the old world, and me and Ian like shooting the shit. It takes us, for a 1,500 point game, it takes about triple the time as with anyone else to record a game.
I think it took 6 hours because we didn't even start for 2 hours after I got there.
Yeah, so I thought who better to have on for a more long form discussion based episode as Tian. It's not landing as much as it did in that first game. So yeah, we are going to talk basically about the state of the game of the old world. That doesn't have to inherently be a negative thing. That a lot of states of the game thing, it tends to be like, everything is crap and the game is dying. No,
I think we should talk about our experiences of the state of the game, because you can go on the internet and believe that as the state of the game, and then you go down your club and it's like, that's the internet.
Yeah. So I wasn't going to be basing it on like random posts online says this.
Yeah.
It's like one thing. Right, let's even start here, because I think it was today or yesterday. The Warhammer statistics came out for win percentages, and Vampire Counts got 66%, Bretonians got 62%, and I believe like Tomb Kings got 58, 59%. So like high end. 2 of which poster boys, Vampire Counts Legacies. How much do we care?
Myself, not really. Like, the thing with like Vampire Counts, from the online view of it, it's people spamming Mortis engines, level 4s, and screams, and then they just go, we ignore 70% of the rules because they don't have to hit, they don't have to wound, they can debuff your leadership that you haven't got to save against, you don't get armor, you don't get regen.
Well, it's almost like a spell as well, but ignoring the cast roll.
Yeah, true.
Now, that has obviously resulted in a lot of tournaments and players playing with these like scream heavy lists. Tomb Kings as well, like screaming skull catapults for -1 to leadership within like a bubble of impact site. And then Casket
Souls, yeah.
Souls. Yes, I kept on thinking Ark of the Covenant, because every time I picture it, obviously I think Indiana Jones. But
why would you ever think of that? That doesn't even make sense. it's souls screaming out of a weird box. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you getting lists of Screaming Skull Catapult and double Casket of Souls to do a very similar thing.
Yeah.
I've played against a few of those lists. Like I went to a tournament, doubles. So 1,000 points of vampires, and 2 out of the 3 games that I played had triple scream, and 1 of them had only single scream, which is reasonable, right? But do you know what? Even with the debuffs, I found I just roll well, and it's not a problem. But that's not a good result.
That's not a strategy, is it? It just happens. Yeah, because you could have easily double wonned on your. Let's say you played Chaos, like a Chaos Lord Dragon, you double won it, and it's like, cool, he took 9 wounds or whatever.
Oh, you
ridiculous.
Mean double 6 it, yeah.
Sorry, double 6 it.
Over your leadership.
Yeah, so you go down to what, leadership 4? Can they make you leadership 4? Maybe less?
He's 9 to start, he's -2 for the Wailing Dirge, and then you've got a total of -3 from other sources.
But then you could also have a Dark Wizard for another -2. So you can be -7.
Necromancy Wizard.
Yeah. So your leadership 2, you've rolled a 12, you take 9 wounds, 10 wounds, whatever.
Yeah.
That was cool.
And it's obviously like a very good strategy for dealing with a lot of things that are the problems that we'll get onto later. I say problems, but like things that have become prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
But
so then like Bretonians 60% or whatever they were.
60, 62. Like, I think that's specifically from my experience. Main Bretonians, not... I've never seen an errantry list used.
Right.
And I think it's because of lots of Impetuous being in there. And Exiles you don't really see used as much as there was a little bit of a cry that, Exiles with the Vanguard move are going to be horrendous. Actually,
Right.
that ward just means...
Yeah, not having a 5-up, 6-up, whatever it triggers to do. Yeah.
Massive.
With Bretonians as well, you're going to notice a theme. Quite often I see people spamming Peg Knights. So you're like a Lord in a unit of Peg Knights, and then another Lord-level Duke in another unit of Peg Knights. And then you just sort of get...
Yeah.
I don't know.
You get sandwiched between the Peg Knights.
Yeah, and it's the Lord that does all the work, and it's the Pegasus Knights that take all the wounds, and just... Yeah, don't know. Another version of spam.
Yes, yeah. Now, it's because it's like, again, a very... Same as Banshees, I suppose, slightly. And it's a very obvious one to do.
Yeah.
Knights are double the expense of a knight, and on the charge have literally 2 wounds, 2 attacks, so double what knights have. And then they're toughness 4, strength 4, rather than strength toughness 3. So it's just a very obvious thing to do. And the footprint of the unit is... Yeah,
so good.
The footprint of the unit is smaller than the equivalent number of attacks from knights.
Right. Yeah.
Like, just very obvious one. And then Tomb Kings, as we say, is the Casket of Souls, Screaming Skull Catapult, and you can get 2 dragons into the list.
Wow, yeah. What, a prince or a king, sorry, and a level 4, both on dragons.
I was talking to Richie about it the other day. I didn't, fully interrogate the list because we were talking dwarves a little bit, but it was more just like a current one that's cropped up in what he's seen, his double dragon.
It's also worth noting that the 3 best performing armies all have models available. So that could have something to do with why you're seeing so many.
Do you think that's affecting win percentage, though?
Well, if you've got more... If vampires are doing well and you can buy the models and go to an event tomorrow, I might as well buy vampires. They're doing well and the models are available. If someone came out with a really skew, amazing Wood Elf list because they've got 20-year-old models from their loft and that wins 100% of their games, but there's only one player doing it, it doesn't...
No, but that would come out and affect the statistics, wouldn't it?
But it would say 100,
but with a small
5 games.
Yeah.
So it was not really viable data.
So what you mean is like the Warhammer statistics in total. That's one of the reasons you don't really put truck in them.
I mean, you've got 6 months of games, but truly, how many proper 5 games to get a proper winner? Like, you're not getting a proper winner after 5 games when you're counting events that are 3 games at 1,200 points or 1,500 points.
Yeah.
It's different things skew at different points levels. So I think it's hard to say one thing's broken and one thing isn't, unless you're judging it by the same standard each time.
True, but I think giving a representation of the army, because it's only sort of like random decision that has meant standard for armies is 2,000 points. It's only that it's suggested a truck over from old rules.
It's suggested in the rules that 2K is what they aimed for. So
do we know that that's what the case was, or
it's in the rulebook? It literally said 2K is what we suggest.
Yeah, I just don't know whether the game is best played at 2K, honestly.
That's because you're a Bretonian.
Personal thought.
And you can take a Duke at any level. You can do a 500-point game with a Duke.
I play Exiles, so I can't. Yeah. It's still 0-1 Baron.
Is a Baron 0-1 per K?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't bring a Baron at 1,000 points, at 999 points, but you can bring a Duke.
No, I can't, because I can't bring a Duke in Exiles.
Okay, a normal Bretonian man could bring a Duke.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yes, Bretonians would massively skew in that.
It's very
odd taken, I suppose, but
Yeah.
Warhammer statistics, you reckon not much trouble. I reckon it's a little bit to say, but it wouldn't put me off collecting an army because one side, like, look at how Richie's doing with these dwarves, and dwarves have had really low win percentage. He's basically Richie pushing up the win percentages of dwarves across all of those statistics.
Does he win very often, or does he win the events because he gets best painted, nicest guy? He gets all the other awards, so he comes away, quids in, and he's like, yeah, I got smashed 4 games out of 5. It's like, cool.
I think he's been winning like 3-4 games per event.
Oh, all right. Okay.
He was the first person to go 5-0, and that was with his dwarves at a 2-day event.
Calling horseshit. No way.
Yeah, I think so. Like a proper, like, reported 2-day tournament.
Right.
Like, he got it like a couple of months ago. Is what I remember. It's not Richie saying it right now, so no one shout at Richie for my faux pas if there was one. But yeah, he's, in summary of that little point, take the percentages of win rates with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, you're not going to be playing, probably locally, you're not going to play against the lists that are a problem, like winning every game. And you will probably have, if you're worried about going down your local store and just seeing 7 people all with vampire counts, you're not going to see it. You're going to see a dusty old dude with his Skaven, and he's like, I haven't played these for 10 years. And then he just gets beaten the crap out of for a whole game. And he has a great time because he just picks up 80 models at a time. It doesn't mind.
Well, I do think we have seen a massive sharp increase of vampire counts because of it. So me and Phil went to a doubles event 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it was like all but 3 pairings had a vampire count triple scream list. Or
was it mandatory? Was painting required at the event?
I don't know how much we can put stock into painting or not based on as much as I play fully painted because it's on the channel, and you tend to paint armies, like to get them painted.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the standard.
Nah, but I just mean if you're scared about whack stuff changing like up and down all the time, just make people play fully painted, and then they can't just stick a load of models to bases and go, yeah, cool, this is my flavor of the month army, and then they just change it next week.
A labour of love.
Yeah, you gotta love it.
Yeah.
To paint 100 models, you've actually got to care. You've got to care more than just winning, I guess, is what I mean.
Yeah. So what do you think then of vampire counts? Now, Scream List seems to, because you've been playing vampire counts, right, as much as you played dwarves at the start.
Yeah.
You've got Scream List, which is like the standard of what people seem to be cottoning on to get these win percentages in the statistics.
Yeah.
Now, before like the fateful tournament win with Triple Scream, that made that be the focus online specifically. That's how you play counts. And there'll be skewing tournaments as well, is that if you go to a tournament, you'll see more of what is popular.
Yeah.
Do you think people have to play counts like that to get a win? How have you been doing? Because you've had like 1 Banshee.
I was doing like February. We played in early Feb, didn't we?
Yeah, we played like a bunch of times. Like
late in Feb. Late in Feb, and I had 2 Banshees at a level 4, and that immediately was like, oh, this is stupid. So then I played at my local club in Birmingham 1 Banshee, and then it was like, this is still not cool, because I was playing against Black Orcs, and we played, shout out Aaron, we played like 3 or 4 games, and he was like, so these have a 3-up save, and this guy has a 2-up save, and this, that, and he has a regen. It was like, cool, take 4 wins. None of that shit matters. But they're all toughness 4. I was like, doesn't matter. So yeah, then it just immediately stopped taking any sort of scream, because then the leadership debuffs are more you're afraid of me because I'm a necromancer. Oh, and by the way, there's a ghoul eating you, so now you're going to run away from a ghoul, as opposed to just getting screamed off the board. So your opponent actually gets to play against it.
Yeah, because if you can still win that combat, the leadership debuff doesn't matter.
Yeah. So it was cool to not use it. It was more fun to not use it because I don't know. Yeah. Sometimes people will put their gun down and have a sword fight, right? We've all seen films. They're like, all right, I'll take you on blade, even though they've got a fully loaded gun. So sometimes it's just fun.
Yeah, I do think as well, when you were playing less Banshee and more Invocation, the stuff that you see like that ways is still actually really good. Like being able to just res back zombies and skeletons and blood knights.
Yeah.
Like insert any unit that is half decent or attack.
Yeah. In our little game that we had recently, the ghouls just coming up. Like, oh, there's 2 ghouls left. Now there's 4 or 5 or whatever it was. And it's like, these are annoying toughness 4 little mooks that don't run away. And they just keep coming back out of the ground. It was quite cool.
Yeah, well, it's the same about the Pegasus Knight spam from Bretonians, like that you mentioned before. But I was playing with some Pegasus Knights.
Yeah.
And it really sort of neutered, spoilers for the game, neutered those Pegasus Knights.
Yeah.
From turn 1. They would.
Yeah, I think so. You just came into me and then you were like, oh, I guess we'll stay here now.
Yeah. And just the ability to like res back that unit from, especially skirmishers, I think. When you've got a big ranked up unit and he's got like 40 dudes in it anyway, resing back 5 isn't as impactful as like my skirmishers, as you say, have gone down to 1. Here's a near full unit back. Yeah, it's a cool little thing, and if you've got like 10 Blood Knights, it's really fun to play for one person. And when you've got like a little level 4 puts on his spectral steed cloak because it remains in play, it's just a great spell, casts it on himself and flies around as a ghost and just goes, oh, you guys need help, have 8 knights back, and then just flies off. It's so galling for your opponent that's trying to get through 2 up save, 6 up regen and toughness 4. I've not really seen it played like that much, but I think it's because potentially, because it's a leadership check as well, so you can't even dispel it.
Yeah.
But I've not seen it played like that, I think, because people are very hung up on this Scream list.
Yeah, it depends. If people are starting their vampire counts now, they're probably doing that list because that's what's winning. Whereas people outside of doing it like recently, are probably playing around with what they've got until they, I don't know, skew into something maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, but the point being that there's more to that list if you want to play it at home than Scream.
Yeah, there's complete other horseshit you can do. That's almost as annoying as screaming. Yeah. I really enjoy a potion of healing on a vampire lord, on his dragon or baby dragon, and then he can heal himself a wound. You can have a necromancer do a wound, another necromancer do a wound, and then he drinks his healing potion. So you can just be like, oh no, I've only got 2 wounds left. By the way, I've actually got 6 wounds left, or 8 wounds left, and just, it's great fun. They're really resilient, if you didn't know.
Yeah, it's their thing, and having a spectral doppelganger great weapon never hurts as well.
Well, it turns out 25 ghosts can swing a great weapon really, really, really well.
Yeah. Now, on the flip side of that, the Tonians in second.
Yeah.
Saying about the Duke on Pegasus, I've actually really found, like, obviously it's incredibly effective.
Yeah.
Outside of that, and saying that also I don't think the Exiles have been played with much, I think the list having the ability to run away and then still gain the blessing later on. Although it's not quite as good as like the obvious, like have a ward and a dupe that can just monster slayer killing blow everyone. Having the ability to run away from combats, and then you just challenge out and then gain your blessing for the first time later on.
Yeah.
Or flee charge reaction, not lose it off a knight unit and gain it later on.
Well, normal knights are losing something, whereas if you don't ever gain it, you've still not lost. You've just not gained anything, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, you don't lose the blessing, so you could still gain it.
No, that's what I mean. So a normal knight would run away, lose the blessing, so they feel like they've lost something. Whereas even if you never gain the blessing and you run away, you've not lost anything. You're just looking to gain later in the game.
Yeah, and he's caught out a couple of people as I've been playing it. Like, you're doing what with your Bretonnian?
Yeah.
With your Bretonnian knights. That I think is a nice non-standard way to play Bretonnians, that you don't have to get caught up in that meta list.
Yeah.
But
is it if you flee out of choice, or is it if you flee at all? So if someone with terror charges you. Oh yeah, cool. All right.
If you fall back in good order, you have fled and lose the blessing.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so if you even just get like beaten in a round of combat, you can likely end up losing the blessing.
Okay. All right. Yeah, cool.
Bad.
Yeah.
Now, right, let's move on, because we've been talking about win statistics.
Yeah, this is going to incite rage in people anyway, so we might as well talk about something else.
Go on, let's talk about a non-controversial one. Wizards. Okay. What are you thinking? What are your thoughts on Wizards?
The obvious answer is bring a level 4, or don't. Ideally, bring a level 4 with a +1 to dispel thing.
Not from the Wand of Jet to get both.
You're going to roll doubles, and then it's going to blow up.
Yeah, but it's just until that point, I'm just casting at level 5 all game, whatever.
I think the normal +1 to dispel add +3 to your cast range or dispel range as well. So that's a nice. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really enjoying little level 2s because they're cheap, and I really like Dark Magic because it's just a little strength 3 AP2 blast, which. When I played you, I don't think it did much. Spoiler. Maybe it killed a couple of your foot knights. But I played...
Dispelled it quite a lot, I think.
Yeah, it's not... They're only level 2s, because you had a level 3, which is more. But I played against High Elves a little while ago, and he had a 20-man block of Swordmasters, and it was... Turns out, AP2, Strength 3, that's how you kill elves. And it was like...
Effective, yeah.
Pick up 4 of them. I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, cool. The wizard's paid for himself. Pick up 4 more. The other wizard's paid for himself. So, but you want to bring a level 4. What do you think about it?
I am really enjoying level 2s, actually. Like, it's because you were playing on foot, whereas I think for my attempted method of using them, a level 2 on horseback or a cheapest flying mount that you can get.
Yeah.
And just being very conscious of where their level 4 is.
Yeah, just keep it out of range.
Yeah, just out of range. And especially because I've got Pegasus Knights in the Bretonnian list, in Chaos, you can use some of the skirmishing units there quite nicely, or even things with longer charge range.
Yeah.
To just push back the dispelling level 4. So that you sort of control their movement.
Or you even force them into a unit for spare wounds, right? Like I had to put mine in a unit because otherwise I'm using them to heal wounds back. So the casting was just a bonus. But you get your Pegasus, if you come around the back and my Necromancer just stood there next to the skeleton unit, like there's 40 ablative wounds there and I'm stood next to it. Like, damn. So I had to put them in the unit. But yeah, because if you go either side of the board with your little fast level 2s, they can't be in range of both. Even a level 4 can't be in range of both. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, so I think people should be writing them off. Like, I went through like sort of stages. Initially, I was like loads of level 2s, and then it just dawned of how actually oppressive level 4s are.
Yeah,
And then I'm actually coming back round in the last couple of weeks, even back to I don't need a level 4. I can get away with level 2s. And just not really expecting to dispel that much, to be honest, but getting my own casting off, I've not found it as oppressive.
fair. I would like a level 4 with a +1 to dispel and not rely on it to do anything but magic protection. So just, I'm not going to use special toys, and neither can you.
Yeah, now, is it something, do you reckon, like, I imagine you agree with this, do you reckon that he's changing? The level 4, like,
maybe
every time.
make, I don't know, this could incite rage. Way to make a chill topic. Maybe level 4's a +2 to cast. Level 1 and 2. So 3 and 4 is +2, 1 and 2 is +1.
Right, so that was kind of how the 6th edition had a mechanic where your dispel was done, or your generation of dice was done like that. You grouped them into level 1s and 2s, and 3s, 4s had generated 2 dice. So sort of like that. So there's a closer gap between them on the actual roll.
Yeah. So, but your pluses, that's for both. So you're casting at +2 and dispelling at +2 for level 4. Because then you'll look at things like the +1 to cast items, so the Wand of Jet for whatever reason. That's now like, oh, I'm a level 5-ish because I'm getting +3/+3.
Yeah.
So you're now really outclassing a level 1 or 2, but you've had to pay another 50 points or whatever it costs to do that. As opposed to at the moment, it feels like your level 4 might be not even double the cost, maybe double the cost of a level 2, but it gets off its spells 70% of the time against the level 2, and the level 2 doesn't get any. So really, level 2s were absolutely worthless. So it's just, I'm talking about we're 12 inches away in a level playing field.
Yeah,
it's just so objectively better that maybe it'd be nicer if you were both failing spells sometimes, because +4 it's quite tough to fail a spell.
Yeah, even if it's a 10 plus to cast, if you roll average. Yeah, if you roll average, you succeed by 1. Now, I actually think another one could be you can just dispel and cast 1 time per phase. So if I've got 2 level 2s, I can cast twice in the shooting phase, say, but your level 4 can only shut one of them down. Would be an option.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Do you like bringing it back round to the other?
So you level 4 knows there's no point having 3 magic missiles.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because like you're busy doing one of them, choose one.
Yeah, because then assailment spells actually become. Sorry, there isn't Spectral Doppelganger. Assailment spells become relevant as well, because you're like, well, I might as well throw a Dwellers out there because I'm not casting this phase, so I might as well just throw it out.
If you're level 4, you've then got you cast in all phases.
Yeah.
Which is that, so then you have one from each discipline, rather than being like, I've just got 4 buff spells.
Yeah, right.
Or whatever.
I'm going to cast Fireball and Conflagration template, whatever it's called. Yeah.
Fireball, Pillar, Ruby Ring.
Well, the Ruby Ring's separate, right? The ring is its own magician. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think it's either way, but that's more, I suppose, for another edition. What we talk, I doubt any of those changes would ever be able to be made into an FAQ.
It's
once per phase.
It's a rewrite, right? The once per phase is much less.
It's less of a rewrite, isn't it? It's one change, like one line in the.
Yeah, I like that. That's quite cool.
I think yours probably would work better. Your suggestion.
It would just be nice to watch wizards fail. Because I don't mind my level 2 failing, but when someone's got a level 4, and I've used them like almost exclusively, but you know it's going off. You know a 7+, 9+ is going off. So, yeah.
Do you know what I would actually really like to see? Miscasts. A third of them currently actually cast the spell.
Yeah, or dispel the spell, yeah.
Yeah, or dispel the spell.
Yeah.
I'd really like to see, I've miscast. Dude or dudette explodes.
Yeah.
Gets dragged into the warp, insert whatever.
You are hit by a stone thrower. You're taking D3 +3 wounds, strength 8, AP3. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, rather than just like a blast template, and I take 1 wound on my 2 wound character, so I'm not bothered.
I know my dragon, my bone dragon. It's lost a wound. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you arise it back, and it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was a thing.
Did you see that coming? Because I think they sort of teased like how magic would work. Did you see it coming to this extent before release?
No, I think you and I. Do we call it? Maybe were we gullible or were we naive to think that people would
Be restricted.
run a lord? Yeah, you would run. Right, I'm going to run a lord, and he will be my general. That lord might be a wizard lord, or it might be a duke or whomever. But when you give people the option to do whatever they want, it's like, oh, cool, I'll run 2 of those lords.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because was it 5th or 4th or 6th? It was one of the editions that I have played in the past where it was you can have 0 to 1 lord at 2k. Because it was like, well, 14.99 to 2k was 0 to 1. Yeah. And it was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. At 2,000 points was 4 characters total, one of which could be a lord.
Yeah.
And that you either had like general level 3 or 4 or whatever, like archlector, whatever equivalent levels. And then your heroes were like obviously mook levels, 2 wound characters.
Yeah.
And it's something that I'd actually really like to see again. Do you know, like limiting, or even if it was just like limit level 4s, limit level 3s and 4s, and make it a choice between level 4 and a general. And by general, I mean like top level fighty character.
Lord fighter, yeah.
Like, because it was those combined would add up to like, well, I can still take a range of really small level characters, but also there's then more choice, which is then interesting list building wise.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I've been playing with is 25% points cap for characters. Well, it's not end times, right? It's not end times is what introduced 50%. Before that, it was always 25.
Yeah, but this is called the Old World Hero Hammer. That's what this is called, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
Is it Hero Hammer? Is it? Do we want it to be Hero Hammer? There's lots of complaints about it.
If I can have 1,000 points of heroes, and 700 of those can be my lord on his giant monster, hell yeah, that's what I want. What I don't want is 2 of that guy.
But
that's what I don't
want. Do with 1,000 points cap. Because so 25% at 2k, I can still fit a Chaos Lord on Dragon in. It's just I can only have a maximum of like 30 points worth of war gear.
Yeah.
Like and it means that
then you have the option of a Manticore, right? So you're now saving 100 points. So now you can have 100.
So maybe I choose to go Manticore and not Dragon.
Yeah.
And therefore I can squeeze in an aspiring champion with a standard. Or something like that. And then it's this choice of, do I want Mega Dragon? Or do I want a slightly less with support? Or do I want on a horse with a range of boys to help out?
Yeah, Empire do really well at 25% because all their heroes are like Dave with a full plate armor. That's all he's got. He's like, cool. Well, I'm slightly tougher, everyone.
Because they're crap enough to be like, well, if I really trick them out and spend a load of points on them.
Well, you can buy a character, it's like 40 points or whatever they are, and you're just immune to panic. That's sick.
Yeah, but they die so easy you can't trick them out any more than that, really. I find.
Yeah, that's fine. It's immune to panic on a unit.
I've been liking it writing lists like that for Bretonians as well. It sort of prices you out of it sorts out the Duke problem. Let's call it a problem.
Yeah.
It sorts out that in that if I have a Duke,
don't call it a problem. Call it a hazard.
The Duke hazard, right? Okay.
Yeah, the Duke.
I get it.
Duke's
Don't worry. I got it.
I was not like, I'm just insane. That's not even a real thing. Yeah, Dukes of Hazzard.
Don't worry. I got it. I was attempting to not lampshade it so that everyone that knew, and everyone that didn't. But it meant that with a Duke, with heroism and everything, that comes to like 390 points.
Yeah.
So at 25%, well, I can have that and a level 2 with no other upgrades. But if I want a sergeant at arms in my peasants or a battle standard bearer, I can't take the full Duke at 25%. So it then starts pricing down.
It also weirdly buffs cannons. So, because you're like, generally, Rich will be able to tell you better than me, but I went off cannons immediately because it was like, take D3 wounds. It's always one. You know it's always one. So you're like 8 wound dragon. Also, if you're playing against elves or someone like that, and it's like, I've got these 2 moon dragons or whatever they've got. You're like, okay, cool. That one takes a wound. And it's like, cool. Your whole army's dead.
Yeah. Well,
why
people,
if you've only got one
bolt throwers, right?
Yeah, but if you've only got one big beast, then you my 2 or 3 cannons are now like, oh, that's pretty scary because they're all going to shoot at one guy.
Yeah.
They haven't got to choose. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's
I don't like it for undead armies personally, but
I think it would because you tend to look at it and go, that's really restrictive for like insert army that you are currently playing. It's really good for dwarves, but they're at lower end of win percentages anyway.
Yeah.
Hard to win with because characters are a trap for dwarves, but pretty much everyone else, like, oh, I really want to fit this in. I really want to fit that in, but everyone's going through that. Everyone's going through that horrendous sort of like, oh, what do I really need in the list? I'm getting a migraine thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's not, and for anyone at home, try it out because it's still within the rules. Do you know, like, it's not like we're altering any of the rules to do that. You've just made an agreement to not go over that 25%.
Yeah. No, it's not like 50% core, which I've seen thrown around, and it's like, yeah, 50% core could work for some people, but would you like to see 50% core of like zombies? Like you have to bring 1,000 points of zombies in a game. It's like, oh, great. So, let's just play one turn.
I think 25% characters works better because it's sort of almost you could do 25% characters, 25% core, and then like sort of 25 special, 25 rare. But really, it's largely not going to end up like that.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know, it just sort of...
I think reducing your hero cost, you've immediately in my head, I'm like, oh, I can now actually bring that thing in special that I wouldn't normally have points for because I've now just found 250, 500 points.
It's not like you can just replace that 25% into rare because that's already capped at 25%.
Yeah.
Like you're still only taking, like, I'm going to say double giant, but just insert whatever rare you think about.
Yeah, 2 Terrorgeists to go with my 2 Banshees. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're not adding more of that, and it feels really harsh for everyone, regardless of what army you're playing. I think.
Yeah.
Because I didn't expect personally it to be as hero hammery as it is, regardless of whether or not I should just be playing historical games, like being the one of the operative things. Like, Max, go and play some fucking historicals, you idiot.
You should play Mortal Gods is what you should play. That is hero hammer. It's not quite skirmish. It's anywho. It's good fun. It is really good fun, and it's just dice. You're like, oh, this guy rolls 6 dice. He did nothing. It's like, oh crap. Yeah, but everyone's the same. It's really cool. I didn't think it would be as Hero Hammer, but then as soon as we got the books, I was like, cool, dwarves. And I was like, oh, I can't do what everyone else can do with their heroes. So
you can. We played on 3 dwarves.
Yeah, but then they still walk at child with 1 leg speed. They're really not very fast. Because we played a few games and I had like a 400-point lord with 7 attacks and always strikes first. And I was like, this guy's going to do nothing because you're going to avoid him. I was like, oh, I wish I had 4 stone throwers instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Like that's why we say like characters are a trap for dwarves. But yeah. I thought ranked up units were going to be. I do see it still drifting up gradually. The amount of like models in units, I think, is drifting up still. Because I was immediately like, units are going to be massive.
Yeah.
Like just a big ranked up unit with Horde adding to leadership. And what?
It's because of the pushbacks, right? You're not just getting wiped if you lose.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that's going to be the way. But actually the flanking with a unit strength 9 dragon sort of put paid to that for a while.
What's your combat res? 5. Well, you've got no ranks. 2. I've killed 7 guys. Oh, then it's -5. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it just put paid to it. So it's... I do think it's swinging back from stuff that I see. Like, a few people are talking to me, like Richie was talking to me, I was like, oh, actually, like this slightly bigger unit, and like others in Richie's group, oh, this slightly bigger unit. Maybe they've drifted off that this is a month-old information. But yeah, he's like, because I found massive success with a big 50-strong peasant block, or like
I've really enjoyed my 40 skeletons. Just
man.
The combat res is so high, like, but they die to things like Wild Riders. But who doesn't?
Yeah, exactly. You just got to expect them to get minced sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's usually like, I think I recommended the skeletons to you. It's just like 10 wide and all with spears, and they get.
We had a game where you had a unit and you ran like 6 level 1 necromancers and 60 skeletons, and you just went, what are you going to do about it? I was like, well, I'm going to charge you with great weapon dwarves. And they just went, right, 4 of your dwarves are dead. I outnumber you. You're falling back in good order, which is a flea. I was like, oh, yeah, sweet. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. Just like having that big unit, especially if can still be kept quite cheap.
Yeah.
Because rather than looking at it and being like, oh, I'm going to take 25 men-at-arms that comes to like 100 points.
Yeah.
I've got to think of like, how am I going to defeat a 300-point unit with that? Well, I'll make my men-at-arms 300 points, and that results in this humongous blob of men-at-arms. And then actually, I might do quite well against that 300-point unit, because I'm also a 300-point unit.
But you only have to... So let's say, for my dwarves, 300 points is what, 20 iron breakers? Around there. You've only got to kill 11. And you've now got half the unit cost. Yeah. Whereas I've got to kill 26 of you to get the unit cost.
Yeah, and just even if I win combat 1 round,
I'm now double outnumbered.
Yeah. It just plays into it. So I do think there's something there that is maybe off meta at the moment.
Yeah.
But is horrendous to deal with from the other side.
You've also got to paint those 50 dudes, which immediately puts some people off.
Yeah, but it's I'm used to that though, right? Like,
yeah.
I'm self-flagellating.
Painting 40 death roll, because old skeletons were great, because it was the dude is painted and I've painted his weapon and I've painted his shield separately with the airbrush. Bring those pieces together, it's done. But the amazing Age of Sigmar death rattle skeletons are like half a rusted breastplate, a helmet with a bit of skull showing through, cloth everywhere, and it was just like each one of these is like an actual project to paint. And it was
This is much work as a normal model, not
yeah.
Publisher's dream.
And there's 40 of them, and they're 5 points each. So it was just, what is this? But they're painted. It's done. You only have to do it once.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
You've just got the colour of that army in this mega block.
Yeah. It's fine. We unfortunately didn't do a skeleton versus men at arms off. Did we?
Yes, you charged him in the flank when I went in front of you, dragon.
I honourably charged you and let the dragon kill 12 dudes with Spectral. Yeah. Like a true hero. Exactly. But anywho, yeah, we do just need a grind. Just 2 massive units of just idiots. Like, I'm weapon skill 2, and you're like, I'm weapon skill 3 because I'm an outcast. Like, wow.
Wow, oh my God.
I hit you twice.
50% better than me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should. It's on for next time then.
All right, no cavalry.
My list's out then. It's okay. Right. I've got to have 1 unit of cavalry in the list, haven't I? I can't not have cavalry.
No, I thought your
I can have foot knights. Yeah.
Your grave guard, or living grave guard, whatever you want to call
them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one thing that I think comes up, because we have a very relaxed style of play that I think a lot of people actually in the community also want as their, like playing the old. Whenever you get like the wacky posts online, you get a bunch of people just being like, "Stop being such a tryhard! Like, why are you bothering with?"
Yeah.
Now, all the events that we're currently seeing, minus the one that me and Phil just ran a couple of weeks ago, seem to be tournaments.
Yeah,
like hardcore tournaments.
Yeah.
Now, have you seen any that aren't?
Even if they're not hardcore tournaments, it's still, you'll see a post that's like, "Oh, my club is running a 1,500 point beginners tournament," and you're like, "Cool. Why not just make it an event where you don't have prizes and just go, or like
for winning,
favorite army, nicest guy, weirdest list." And wooden spoon, like, because someone does need to get something for getting hammered in all of their games, but maybe the person that wins every game doesn't need it. Maybe the win is the prize.
The win is an ego boost enough in itself.
Yeah.
Like, because I'd specifically like to see, because fantasy for me has always been like a really good storytelling device, right?
Yeah,
like it's same as with like. Because it's like role-play game based, even more so arguably than 40k stuff.
Right.
Like, because it came from like old like chainmail and stuff, and then even Hero has an evolution of that. On top of the fact that I think there's a group of people that would put off to go into tournaments, but having a storytelling event scene, would be really good.
Because you and I both play a lot of played a lot of Heresy. I don't know how much you play now, but those events are goodie versus baddie, and you can choose which one's the goodie and which one's the baddie. Yeah. But it's 2 sides fighting for a small galaxy star system area, whatever. Not a small galaxy, a small star system. And they'll fight over a few planets, and then at the end of the weekend, it's like the goodies win. See you later, go home, have fun. And then everyone's sort of, maybe you would use the Age of Sigmar groupings where they have, what is it, destruction,
order,
law.
There you go. Yeah.
And there's one more. Order, death. Is Chaos one?
No, because I think that's Destruction.
No, Destruction's like Orcs. And then Chaos is like beast.
Anyway, whatever it is. Cool. Whatever.
Then let's use those 4 groupings that we've definitely researched before talking about it. And you could just be like, who are you playing for? Yeah. And then you wouldn't even necessarily need an even split, because it could just be like you have a little hex map or whatever. And it's just like at the end of the weekend, even though there was only one destruction player, let's say,
Yeah.
they increased their area by. They had one, and now they've got 3.
Yeah.
It's like they did the best out of everyone, really, because they tripled their ground. Whereas the 8 death armies that are there, did you get 24 areas? Well, you didn't triple, so the orcs did better. Or like destruction did better. So
yeah,
it could be a don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. We split it at our event, Forces of Fantasy, Ravening Hordes, because that lent itself to like Forces of Fantasy would take caravans across to Cathay, and then Ravening Hordes are raiding the caravan. Do you know, like there was a nice, because we weren't basing it on territory or anything like that.
Right.
It was like raiding and not raiding. Profiteering, maybe.
Yeah. What did Wood Elves make their wagons out
of? Stags and wood. Like what?
I suppose they could sing a tree into the shape.
Yeah, they make spears out of wood, right? So
yeah, they just sing stuff into shape, don't they?
Yeah. So they
I guess
sing a wheel into existence. Surely they have wheels for things.
I've never seen a Wood Elf chariot since like 4th edition.
Yeah, but surely they're not carrying everything. Surely they've got like hand carts and stuff.
You've got tree men. Just put it on that guy.
So, can you not imagine like, oh, we've got this tree man ancient. What's he been doing all this time? Oh, he just carries like stuff about.
He's a coat rack.
Yeah, he's the servitor.
Yeah, that'd be fine. Just keep the weather nice and cool so he doesn't get too much sap in him. So he's just really docile. That's how you do it.
The most demeaning existence for a
But he's so cold, he can't even tell. He doesn't know. He's asleep, basically.
Well,
what
is the least angry tree species? Is it?
I don't know. The smaller the tree, definitely the angrier, right? Like a hawthorn's going to be really angry.
Yeah.
But maybe like a sycamore?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't.
Sycamores grow really fast and they're really big.
Yeah, pines, I imagine, are angry.
Yeah, but pines are awake all year. Like, that's going to make you pretty grumpy.
Yeah, they never get to sleep.
Yeah.
Birch, maybe. Downy birch.
No, because they've got dandruff. Like, their skin literally, or psoriasis, like, their skin is falling off all the time.
Yeah, like...
Yeah.
Anyway,
comment down below. What's the angriest tree?
I'm happy to agree Sycamore on that one. But yeah, I just like the amount. I think because one thing that I see on the channel is there is enough interest in. There is interest in competitive, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But there is also a lot of interest in non-competitive and just like having fun. Like who knew games about having fun? Like
yeah. But it isn't necessarily non-competitive because even heresy events, you're still winning. You still want to win your game, but it's also how much you lose by matters.
Yeah. So when I'm saying non-competitive, I mean like
non-tournament,
wacky competitive.
Yeah.
Because like even when you're approaching a game, even if it's friendly, trying to win presents interesting challenges, which is surely what it's all about.
Yeah.
Like rather than just like, how would you non-competitively in a strict sense actually play a game? Because it's like, I'll move my unit here to let you get a flank charge, so that it's fun for you. Like
I'm in more at the list building where someone's not going to go. I will take 150 state troops, and my narrative is I get absolutely smashed. Like. That isn't like bring something because there's no fun beating. There's no fun having no challenge. Personally, so I'd rather be like, oh my god, I could win, or if he just does this one thing, I could lose. And yeah, it's fun beating the challenge rather than beating your opponent.
To a point.
Yeah.
Like,
yes, to a point, of course.
But
yeah, so
screen
why only triple? I don't know. You must be playing like soft. I've seen this with like 5. it's equally not fun.
1,000 to 1,500 that I've seen them that I've encountered.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
2K I've largely played has been studio games, of which I've not played any vampire counts at 2K yet.
Okay.
I've not had to endure vampire counts at 2K.
The games are really quick, to be fair, because you just pick up. You don't have to roll saves. You just pick up units.
Cuts down on the amount of dice rolls. I'm going to stream there. You roll 2 dice, take off a load of models.
Yeah, it's actually really efficient gaming. But so yeah, events would be something I'd be really interested in seeing, not organising. You can organise them. But yeah, doing some sort of way of splitting up the map, or even team-based events. Something I've never played in, but seen and heard that they're really good fun, because you, instead of having your team of X amount of people, still in a tournament environment playing another team, and then it's like, oh, we won 3 games out of 5, like as a team. So it's like, okay, cool, we get this many points. You would instead, at the start of the event, maybe certain people would be grouped up. They don't have to hang out, they don't have to know each other, but it turns out that these 3 people playing Beastmen and that guy playing Warriors of Chaos are all a team trying to
run it like that. Yeah, but I think when you're saying like territory and stuff, having like a hex-based Mighty Empires map, like I've actually got one of Bretonia downstairs that I made for 6th a few years ago and never used, but like that's something that I'm looking at. And we're actually, me and Phil, potentially running an event next January, event, that is going to be split between pubs, hopefully. This is, so like a couple of pubs in walking distance of each other.
And people are going to have to walk their army down the street.
It's only like 50 metres, if that.
We have table service now. I don't even get to go for a beer at the pub. I sit there and it gets brought to me.
Yeah, well, so what is it? I can fit 5 tables in one bar. So if I enjoyed running a very small event actually last time, because it was really nice to get round everything and like properly speak to people. But if there is more appetite for it than that, then involving another bar in the equation would be the solution to fit more tables.
Or even if they play Saturday, you play in one, and then people that played here, and something like that.
Yeah, probably that style of thing. And
that'd be cool. Mm. So how would you go about scoring it, do you think? As we've already said about possibly the 4 different ways of waging war, whatever you want to call them. Like, would you group it like that, do you think, or would you go back to
as a non-binding sort of thing to just say? I would potentially just think about like territory control, winning games, and just have interesting things on top of that. Maybe like have a siege scenario with it, like a couple of tables that are actually castles, and maybe like points of interest. Like if anyone listening has played Heresy, there was a thing for a bit where you would get points of interest on the table. You moved to within like an objective range, rolled dice, and that sort of thing popped up. I suppose fantasy might even have a bad taste in its mouth because of how terrain worked like that at one point, where like you'd roll a dice and this wood that I just entered is like a spiky wood that kills me. No, like some actual like role-playing element that comes from the event counter. So more given flavour like that. And then maybe having a table effect for controlling a table like Mighty Empire. But that's just complete spitballing at this point, because I'm not...
Yeah, because you could do the win. Did you win? Yeah, you take the territory.
Yeah.
And then did you get the point of interest? Then that means you get a resource. So like, then maybe destruction has a resource point, and that does something else at the end of the...
Yeah, or maybe like a couple of game quests. So like, you go to a point of interest, and it, like if you roll like a 4, that's actually a quest across 2 missions that you've got.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Like, find the sword in the stone.
Find the grail.
The tomb. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Don't open the casket of souls.
But no, everyone peeks. Everyone peeks.
Well, no, the first mission is a key, and then the second mission is a thing, and it's like, do you want to use the key in the thing? They're like, yeah, sure. Casket of souls. Unlucky. Everyone's face, like everyone on the board dies as soon as they open it, and it counts as a draw.
It's not like a minor casket of souls. It's a major Raiders of the Lost Ark casket of souls.
Yeah. Yeah.
But everyone's face melts. Now, is there anything else within the last 6 months of the old world? Like, we've got wizards, vampire counts, and Bretonians, and Tomb Kings. Like, sort of, I suppose, debuffs, like type of magic, of like debuffs and buffs being very prevalent, as opposed to, say, like, I'd say even more than direct damage. Because people went bananas for Ruby Ring for a bit. But one thing that I noticed playing Dwarfs was a lot of the time my magic resistance never came into it because they were just buffing their own units.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like area of effect stuff. Or things that I like stopping you doing what you want to do. So I really like things like Crystal Column.
Yeah.
And the spiritual vortex or whatever. Yes, it debuffs your leadership for the spiritual vortex, but it's also difficult ground or dangerous terrain even. So I can just put it in front of your unit. And then you're now, like, say you're impetuous or you've got frenzy, and it's like, well, you might lose a few guys just from playing. And I quite like those things rather than direct damage.
I think that's a common thing now, isn't it? Like, is it sort of shaking out a bit more? I think a couple of damage spells across a list in skirmishes, which has always been like sort of the role of that damage spell because you ignore the hits.
Yeah.
But I think the prevalence of buffs and debuffs is just humongous, I think, at the moment.
Yeah. I don't mind those because they're still risk on them because you still have to, like, even the demonology ones where it's +1 AP, +1 attack, things like that. You still have to put your 1 wound killable guys into combat with someone to get the use out of that spell.
Yeah, I suppose.
So I don't mind those too much, rather than just being like,
I don't think it's a particular problem. It's just not something I foresaw, like, right at the start.
Yeah.
Like, because I suppose, like, we're talking a 6-month time period where this is something that became prevalent pretty fast.
Yeah. Well, you were running your level 2s with demonology, and you were like, I'm just going to take what's the little magic missile spell?
The summoning. And
then you were like, well, it's a 9+, and I'm a level 2. So on averages, I might get it. And then we had like 3 games against my dwarves, and that magic resistance won. You were like, I rolled a 9. And it's like, you needed a 10. And it was like, okay, cool. Let's never take another wizard again. But yeah. I like the buffs are good. I'm meh about debuffs being good.
Really?
Yeah.
Because your -1 strength toughness.
Curse of Years.
The weak is that's real nasty.
Oh no, Word of Pain. Because I use dark magic, I think. Whichever. But yeah, so like Word of Pain, I debuff you with strength and toughness. It's pretty cool. But it's not quite the same as like Plague of Rust, where it's this spear is now a great weapon. It's like, oh, okay. This blowpipe ignores your armor. Like, oh, yeah. I don't know.
Blowpipes.
Yeah. I rolled a 6. Take a wound, dragon. Oh, damn. I don't know. Is there much shocking or that you think there's to report on the last 6 months of fantasy? We've talked lots of statistics that may or may not be relevant. Yeah.
We've talked Tomb Kings, or like I've touched on Tomb Kings slightly. Bretonians, vampire counts, level 4s, level 2s, ranked units versus dragons. I think that's the key points, man.
I don't know. I think people just need to play.
Yeah, I think we're still early doors.
Yeah, people just need to play. Like, instead of, I'm well aware that this is on the internet, but people need to just ignore what they see all over the internet, and just, unless someone's posting a picture of a unit that they've just painted, don't pay attention to anything else. Like, who cares? Honestly, who cares? Because even if you get every rule in a game wrong, if you and your opponent are both playing the same rules wrong, it doesn't matter, because you're both just going to have fun.
Yeah, and I think the rule set's pretty tight. And do you know, like, the stuff that you're going to get wrong? I say tight. Maybe that's the wrong word, but the rule set is very enjoyable.
Yeah, it's fun.
Level. The stuff that you're going to get wrong, people are still getting wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I'm certainly not perfect.
We get it wrong and put it onto a battle report. So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's just
like, if I anyone to get everything 100% correct, 100%
exactly
correct,
right. Yeah.
If it's actually putting people off that that's the case, that they might get some stuff wrong, it's more important to just have an enjoyable game, and then
absolutely, yeah,
like, and come back next time, incrementally, maybe learn the rules a bit better each time.
Yeah, people have been playing chess for how many years, and you'll see grandmasters like do an illegal move in a game, and they're just like, oh, I've just forfeited the game because I moved my king 2 squares instead of 1 and took my hand off, and the game's over. And it's like, oh, well, things happen. People make mistakes. Oh, yeah. Or like, they'll put their king in chess and that's the end of their move. And it's like, oh, you can do that. Game over. But yeah, people make mistakes. It doesn't matter. Like, you and your friends are going to have fun. People are going to have fun telling you you're wrong, but no one tells you you're right.
Well, I think that's the thing, that people enjoy telling you that you're wrong.
Yeah,
that's one of the main things. It's a source of enjoyment for a lot of people for some reason.
Yeah,
and I think that's it. Like, it's a solid, like, enjoyable game. That I'm definitely happy we've got another edition of Fantasy.
Even if it's just the models are going to come out. Actually, no, it's that there's going to be more people playing it. I think that's my favorite thing about it, because now you can go to your local store and get a game of Fantasy.
Yeah. No, I think it's what you said, like, halfway through. Like, am I still playing Heresy? I am still playing Heresy, but it's a significant chunk is now dedicated to the old world. Like, at the moment, as I'm going through all the guides, it's more than Heresy.
Yeah.
It'll probably even out to 50-50, but I've definitely noticed a shift in the Heresy community, even, because a lot of those players had come from Fantasy and are now going back to Fantasy.
I've seen similar in 40k people locally as well. There are so many new Fantasy players because they went to 40k because Fantasy dropped, so they've now just come back. So it's not like everyone's just stopped playing Heresy and now plays Fantasy. Locally, it's everyone that stopped playing Fantasy is putting down whatever they used to fill their time, and now they're playing Fantasy again.
Yeah.
So
true.
Other games have taken a hit, but yeah, it's the new thing. So we'll just have a glorious year or two, I guess.
And it's a good place to be in, I think, for the game.
Yeah.
Else. Like, just people enjoying it. People, an amount of things that people enjoy complaining about in there. It satisfies them.
It gives something to do on your lunch break, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just, I'm going to quickly hop on a forum and just
complain about
tell someone they're an idiot.
Yeah. Well,
they couldn't find out what. Oh, I'll always use.
Actually,
I'll use a page reference, or I'll just make a. Guys, you know how broken this is, and it's like, well, yeah. If you don't read any rules, everything's broken.
Yeah, that's what I tend to see you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every now and then. So if anyone frequents the old world groups, you'll see Ian on there every now and then just like quoting a page number and telling them someone's wrong and they shouldn't be complaining about the thing that they're complaining about.
Yeah. But solid work. They can complain, or they can just play another game. It doesn't really matter. Like, I mean, another game of fantasy. Instead of getting caught up on the one, oh, this one thing cost me a game, it needs to be changed. It's like, cool. Just play another game against a different army, and you'll find something else you don't like. It doesn't matter too much.
Hundreds of units that are available.
Yeah.
So, and they're all got to be balanced together against each other.
What you should do in a video, we won't do it now, you can rank each army's most broken unit. So like Orcs and Goblins have a Fanatic, Bretonnians get either Pegasus Knights or their Duke at every points level. You can choose whatever you want, and then just put those in a tier list. So like, what is the Scorpion that Tomb Kings have that has Killing Blow everything? It's like, that's probably one of their best units because it's like 60 points or something ridiculous. How good is that compared to a Banshee? Like, ooh.
Well, what we'll have to do first is do a video on what is the most broken unit in each list. That is a big topic. There's a few obvious ones and a few not so obvious ones.
What if we don't make it discussion and we both write half of them each, and then we just can't disagree, and then we just rank those?
So tune in next week for
So for Empire, it's a level 4 wizard. For Beastmen, it's their level 4 wizard. For Undead, it's their level 4 wizard. That was quick. I've just done them. It's level 4 wizard.
Yeah, well, Bretonnians is Duke on Pegasus, I'd say, rather than Peg Knights.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Dragon Lord for everyone else.
No, like, I think Orcs and Goblins, the Fanatic's more annoying because you can't kill it. It has to kill itself.
Yes. That's one that we missed out was Fanatics being untargetable. You always used to be able to shoot them. Like, you'd waste the archer's shot, and because you could bait them out, it was just when you got within 8, they had to be released. So you could just be like, right, here's all your Fanatics released at a point you didn't particularly want.
Yeah.
And now,
you killed my dogs.
Archer unit kills one a turn.
Because they were -1 to hit, right?
Yeah, because it was a skirmisher single.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it had protection from the bull. Did it end up being -2? I thought it was like
in 6. It wasn't an additional -1 to the skirmish.
Okay. Yeah.
But, like, you could at least target them, and it wasted all the rest of the unit shots once it was killed.
Yeah, even if it was, you could put if they didn't count as a unit, and so you could put your difficult terrain template, like your Vortex of difficult terrain, you could put it on them because they don't count as a unit, and then as soon as they move in their turn, they just blow themselves up.
Yeah, it's just anything to deal with them.
Just something. Wood Elves are like the only army, because they can just be like, I'm going to teleport this tree right in front of you.
Yeah, all of my spellcasters have tree singing.
Yeah.
Here's all of them.
Just put 3 tree templates around it. Like, you have 1 gap to go through. Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I think we leave it there, Ian, because we've been, I think, about an hour of our nonsense. And I think
that was nonsense light as well. We didn't talk about the things that either of us raised our voices about, so it was fine.
Right.
Your team
anyway, before we carry on too much, thank you for listening, everyone, to this drill.
Thanks so much.
And we'll see you next time. See ya.
Bye.